Well, hello there again. We're going to be doing the next chapter here on the generator house. And do we ever have a dilemma? Does it ever stop? We have dilemma after dilemma after dilemma. Grab your coffee, kick up your feet, sit back, enjoy. I hope. We'll be back in a little bit and we're going to show you the dilemma we're in and figure out what we're going to have to do about it. We'll be right back. Okay, here's the dilemma that we have. We already went over the exhaust, right? You're right. We've already gone over the ventilation fan, right? Right, except for cutting out the foam. We already went through the vent, right? Right. But here's the issue. That has to go through. I was hoping and wanting this to set closer down here. And that way I would have room for storage up here. And that looks like it just may work. Maybe. But this wall is close to 2 inches thick. Means I'm going to be coming back 2 inches. Which means that's only going to give me a short period distance between the side of this and that. I guess it'll work. But here's the problem. That's over 4.5 inches. My hole saw is only a 4-incher. I'm thinking what I need to do is to find me a 6-inch hole saw so that, and I'll show you here where I have it marked. Let me get down in there. That's where it will be marked. And hopefully that'll work on the outside when I put the outside chute on. So stick around. We'll be back in a little bit with our next move and see if we can come up with a way to do this. We'll be back. Well, I think I've come up with a possible solution. I wanted the exhaust to go out in that general area, but every way that I looked at and the size of the end of this here, like I said, I had to do some rethinking. What did I come up with? I came up with a 6-inch hole saw that I'll probably go on the outside and see what I can do, or something in that order. I got some measurements to go to make sure that this is going to be on the inside. Here, let me get around here and show you. The whole idea is I want it to be, you can see this line right down through here. I want it to come out next to that. I don't want it to overlap into that. I believe that might, I don't know. To me, it just seems like it may affect the integrity. So over here in the lap siding is where I want it to go. And what I'm going to do is try to locate that and build it to where I can then slide half of this in. Now, I'm going to have to ream it out a bit, but that will fit inside of this. And then I have some old asbestos rope from a wood burning furnace that I can then stuff around that and this to make that a good tight fit. And if there's any left over here from the hole saw, which this all fits inside of that, I can stuff that all with stainless steel wool. That should help shield the heat and everything else, as well as a couple of other things that I have in mind. Okay, so I'll be back in a little bit as I get done with my calculations and this and that and everything else, and show you where we've gone. Well, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because this stuff will burn, but so will plastic walls. I've got other things in my mind that I'm thinking very seriously about doing here. And if that's the case, and if I can, then that'll help. But again, like I said, I still plan on lining that piece with that rope from the door of my old fire furnace, wood burning furnace, and that should help, as well as the possibility of using some stainless steel wool wherever I need to, just to fill a crack in a crevice. Okay, we'll be back in a little bit. I gotta let that stuff dry. Here's a bit of a side note. If you recall back episode or two ago, I said I needed to get some hardware cloth or something there to make this more critter proof. Well, started thinking about it and realized that Mama and I had done a job some time ago where we did some stonework inside the house, and we needed to do use what they call a metal lath, and then stucco, and then put the stone up. Well, I still had some of that metal lath available, and I think it'll actually work as good, if not better, simply because it's kind of rough and sharp, and I don't see where any critter is going to want to try to chew on that without it getting all their mouth all cut up. So we're hoping. Here's hoping anyway, and I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to try to make a cap to go over that hole right there, or in that hole, or somewhere around that hole, in order of the same stuff, in order to make that critter proof too. Just thought I'd let you know. Okay, while we're waiting on the foam to dry, I went ahead and made a critter barrier for the inside of the spout that the exhaust will be coming out of. This thing is going to be, it's like Mama said, this thing is going to be setting a big portion of the time, and not running. I'll be out here, I'll probably start it at least every other month, if not once a month. That's what I've been doing so far anyway, to keep the batteries charged and everything else, and also to keep it running and in good shape. But still, it's got, it could be a very tempting situation for a critter to try to climb up in there. I'm also looking at using this later down the road over on the shroud that I built that you saw on the last part of this series. Oh, okay, just thought I'd let you see it. Okay, it's been a few days. Had some other things to take care of, family visits and whatever. Finally got out here, got all of the foam cut, and trimmed off. Look on the inside, it's a lot more compact and filled. So now we're going to close the door, turn the air conditioner on, and get started with trying to get that put together so we can end up getting this monster shoved back out where we want it to be permanently, and then getting it wired in. But we'll be back. Now we're slowly but surely trying to get this thing mounted. I'm getting ready to go and push that in and then drill. I have 4 long, small bolts, stainless bolts that'll go through to hold that in place. In here, I have taken, and I'll try to zoom in, I have taken that piece that was sticking through. Like I said, I cut it, started out. But before I did it, I packed that stove ceiling rope, or asbestos rope, inside there that will kind of insulate it a bit. Then I stuck this reducer in there, and I have stainless steel wool stacked in around it. Hopefully, once I get that all done and the outside caulked in and everything, all I have to do is bring the generator in and butt it up against there and shove it, and it'll seal that up. Then I can just stick over top of it and put a screw or 2 in it, and then we'll be ready to go. I have other ideas though, as far as to shield this here from the exhaust pipe itself. I'll get to that here in a little bit as soon as I get this taken care of. You think that's hot? It was 350 degrees when I had it running. And yes, I did have it running. That is on. I'm not going to be able to caulk it with the caulking that I have. I'm going to have to find some high temperature caulking of some sort. I'm not sure how it's going to look or what it's going to be. But everything has been put in. I ran it for at least a half an hour, which means it's the heat and everything is built up to about where it's going to be. The interior in here against the wall was about 150 degrees. The exterior out and around the plastic, that was in the high hundreds, low 200s around there. It didn't seem to melt much. But then again, it melted it, right? Okay, complete, total, epic failure. You can see it right in, oh wait a minute, right in there. The plastic sides melted. So now I have to come up with something new, something different to do. I got to take all this apart and try to figure it out. I'm kind of leaning towards the fact of cutting all of this out and replacing all of the plastic with concrete board. Something I happen to have. My major concern here is making it big enough to shield the plastic, but yet at the same time where this is located, I don't know where I can and still keep the integrity of it. So we're going to be taking this all apart and seeing what we can. Okay, I got her all taken apart, and I want to show you something. This was the underside. Now let me turn it over. You remember it now, I'm sure. That was the underside, or where the exhaust came out. I put that screen in it. For critter patrol, or control, not patrol. And look at what happened to the plastic interior of that on this. Now what I'm seeing here is that plastic disintegrated and or melted, and then it basically plugged this screen off, which caused that to get even hotter. And what did it do? Yeah, look at this. It melted the outside area of this shop or shed, but yet the inside is in perfect condition. And the foam that I shot in there is still intact. So, what do I do now? I have a couple of ideas. I think what I might do is go ahead and put this back up against there, get it level and everything, and strike lines, and then cut all of that plastic out of there. I then will see what I don't know. You'll all go along with me as I figure out what to do here, because I still have a lot of plastic I got to get out of this so it doesn't melt down and do that again. And but yet I know I have to have that critter cage up in front to keep the mice and all the other critters out of the exhaust pipes here. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, that's all the plastic that was inside that exhaust. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the heat that melted this or melted the outside of that cabin over there came because, well, like I said, this part here, that pretty much plugged up the screen. And what's that going to do but create more heat? So again, I've got a decision to make. Every decision I make now is going to I don't want to make the hole any bigger. But I know I'm going to have to peel some of that off in order to get this to seal properly and maybe get this into where, oh well, we'll be back. I'm kind of befuddled here and I need to do some thinking. Okay, here's the plan. We cut the plastic out that melted, and I have cut and inserted a piece of concrete board in its place. That ain't gonna melt. Now I am going to line the interior of this house with concrete board also. That way when I bolt the front on, it'll go through this concrete board, through the shed, and through the other concrete board. That way I can sandwich it together and hold everything in position. And then I'm going to get high temp caulking. It'll probably end up being black to go around and seal this in. And it'll also cover the end of that concrete board, which isn't necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think it'll just look better. So that's the plan. I don't have everything I need to do it yet, but I do have the concrete board from a previous project. So I can get that done. I can also get everything mounted, which will be the other half of this thing, which there's that one that I destroyed already. This one's going to be put in a bit different. It's still going to have the rope insulating it, but it's going to be quite a bit longer, and I'll just have a bunch of little cuts rather than a few big cuts. I don't need those big cuts. Anyway, that's what we're going to do here and try to get this thing fitting in there real good, real solid, and unmeltable. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, that's what the interior is going to look like. As soon as I get that caulking or glue or whatever, I will glue that piece on and this piece on. You can tell I've got the hole cut all the way through. I'll take that and push it through, and then I'll pack it in with this rope, which is that I don't know, asbestos rope maybe or whatever. I have the big stuff, and then I have some little stuff if need be to finish that off. Then I'm going to cut, you can see some lines, I'm going to cut the ends off of that before I do all this so that I can then star this out on the inside. That'll hold it in position. It'll also help hold the concrete board and everything, but this is just a heat shield. Even though I don't really think it's necessary, it's there. I have it done because the fan is going to be sucking most of that heat right up and out of here to begin with. On this side, that's what it'll look like when we're all completely done. And then I'll be putting that dryer vent back on, but this time without the plastic flap, because it is no longer. We'll be back with some more. Well, I went to town, found a few people to talk with about this. Came up with the idea to go ahead and get some construction glue, which was highly recommended. I hope it's good. I'm now gluing the concrete board in where I cut the plastic, and I have the glue on the inside here all around the entire board. Now I'm getting ready for the back, I'll glue that on. It won't be clampable, but it sure will be pushed up against there until it at least sets, and I think that's a couple of hours. While that's being done, I'll work on that piece, and we'll get ready to install it and try to get it put in there in the center. and fold it over and locked in position, and we'll be on our way. We'll be back. Okay, went and cut a section. Actually, the section is taped on right there. Cut that off of here. Determined the circumference of this, and marked this section, which was an inch. Actually, it's 17 inches in circumference. So I went ahead and marked it. Then I taped this back on with a line, which was 1 inch away, and went around and made that mark 1 inch. This is where I will now take my shears, and I will cut each one to allow this to expand out inside here, and help hold it in and help shield it a little bit more. I have the concrete board drilled. I have 4 bolts going in it to basically hold it in place. Those will also be the 4 bolts that'll be on the outside holding the what do you call it? It's the dryer vent exhaust port. It'll be holding that up against this. And then we have a different type of high temperature fire block caulking sealant that hopefully will work on the outside to seal all of this closed. If not, we'll find something else. So just one more step. Okay, we have the insert. I said I was cutting about 1 inch apart, but if you look right in here, you'll see where I have stuffed that, I keep calling it asbestos. I don't know that it is, but I stuffed that rope in there, and what that does is that makes it centered in that hole, which is exactly what we're after. So now I'm going to go ahead. I have to slice these a little bit farther up, and each one of these will get bent up even. And when that's done, I'll be able to undo these bolts and get ready to put the I'm going to put the 3 to 4 inch adapter in here first, and using the stainless steel wool to hold it. But I believe maybe we're getting a handle on this, so we'll be back in a minute and show you our next project. Okay, we're doing, I hope, the final test here. I got it running. You can tell everything is closed up. We're going to see just how hot that gets, and if it starts melt the plastic where it melted it before. It shouldn't. I'm praying. Because if this works, the only thing I have to do is put my critter screen on there and take it back out and start the electrical, and that'll be the end of this session if this works, or the end of this part, and that is if this works. So I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to let it run, maybe even up to a half an hour, because that should accumulate all the heat that it needs to melt if it's going to melt. The fan back here in the shroud, it's going. It's circulating air inside. We will find out. Well, it's been almost an hour, and I'm still looking at 340, 345 on the outside of that vent. Over here is only 175, 180. That's not temperature enough, I don't believe, to melt, because it hasn't melted. It's about that same temperature all the way around. Now, the shroud on the back there for the ventilation, that's 107. That means I'm pulling air out of the building at 107 degrees, which has got to be helping with that. Now, I believe I'm going to go ahead and get some more insulation rope and put on the inside of here, because it's a little warm up here at the top. Maybe not. I think I'm just going to shut it down, let it cool, try the new caulking that I have laying right there, see if it'll go around and look nice, and seal that, and we'll just leave it at that. I think this part is done and complete. We'll catch you on the next part. Well, this is stay-at-homer. Glad y'all stopped by. Hope you enjoyed your visit. Don't forget to give us thumbs up, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends. Tell your local jack of all trades. Maybe they got a good idea. We'll catch y'all the next time when we go into the next part, and hopefully the final part, when we get this thing shoved out here and wired up. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.